Don't worry about that at all. We wanted Mr. Lopez to be over here with us, too. President Kennedy, Mr. Vince Loyd from WGN Television in Chicago, Mr. President, Mr. Vice President. I know that we're very happy to have the opportunity to bring you back to Chicago, and your many stalwart people that are back there, and happy to see you here at the ball game.
I saw the World Series out there 2 years ago, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right, when we had the unfortunate experience of losing to
Los Angeles.
Yes, formerly Brooklyn Dodgers. Mr. President, I know that Mr. Johnson here is supposed to take part in some of the ceremonies on the field.
Going to pitch a couple of innings.
Got that arm. You are a right-hander, are you, Mr. Vice President?
Yes, I am. I had experience throwing out the ball in Nashville Saturday.
How did you do? Did you throw a strike?
Well, I had to throw 2 or 3 times to satisfy him.
Mr. President, have you had an opportunity to do any warming up for this, sir?
Well, we've just been getting ready here today.
He's throwing nothing but strikes.
Throwing nothing but strikes. Very good. Well, we certainly hope that you have good luck here this afternoon. I know that it's been difficult for you in previous years to get out here and see many ball games. We were very happy to notice the condition of the ballpark. It's in very fine shape. They've done some good work with it. And I know, too, that baseball, among many other sports, is one of your favorites.
Well, we're delighted to be here.
Just for a moment, Mr. President, I'd like to have you talk a little bit about the physical education plan that your administration is backing. We feel very strongly about it, of course, back in Chicago.
Well, we have Bud Wilkinson, who's the coach at the University of Oklahoma, who is working now. I must say that I feel it important that we get not be a nation just of spectators, even though that's what we are today, but also a nation of participants, particularly to make it possible for young men and women to participate actively in physical effort, sports. We're just as strong as we are physically and mentally, so that I'm a strong believer in that kind of a program for our people.
Well, you live up to that personally, too, in your own life.
Well, I've been interested in sport, and I think that we want to make sure that everyone has a chance to develop that interest.
In our field of television, we feel they should be doers rather than just viewers.
That's right. That's right.
I know you're looking forward to this season here with the new Washington Senator Ball Club. Have you had an opportunity to study that lineup at all?
Well, we've just been looking at it and discussing it. They look in pretty good shape.
Well, we see some of the fellows. Danny O'Connell down there. Of course, Billy Klaus is from the Chicagoland area originally. And Dale Long.
He played with his...
Klaus, of course. Danny O'Connell has been with the Giants and the other ball club. Billy Klaus comes from right around our area. Dale Long, who last year was with the Yankees the latter part of the season, and was drafted.
Dale holds one of the most enviable records in baseball. He hit 8 home runs in 8 consecutive games in 1956 with the Pirates.
That's right, when he was with the Pittsburgh Pirates. And after that, he came to the Chicago Cubs, and then last year had the opportunity to be with the Yankees towards the latter part of the season.
Dave's in the White House here, but he's the greatest baseball enthusiast I know.
Thank you, Mr. President. We're here today rooting for a Boston boy, Donovan, and we're just hoping to keep that sinker very low today and pitch a shutout.
I'm sorry, but I wish I knew your last name, sir. Would you introduce
Dave Howard.
Oh, yes. Well, I was talking with Donovan a few minutes ago and asked him about his last time out with the ball club before this game, and he had pitched 9 innings, and I think he said the ball club won 10-2, and he feels in real good shape, and he's delighted to be here.
Yes, his record last year was 6-1.
You do know it.
But he has had some good records. He was 16-6 in 1955, and he's won 15 and 58 and 56. And
do you follow all these baseball players that closely?
Well, now that we're in Washington, we're working mostly on our constituents in the 50 states, and we get out to see a ball game occasionally.
Well, you must be quite an avid fan to know those figures that well, too.
Thank you very much.
Sure. I noticed that Senator Dirks is supposed to have been out here this afternoon. And we're hoping that we could have an opportunity to have senators say hello to us here before this thing gets underway. Mr. President, I want to thank you again, sir, for speaking with us.
Oh, fine. Good. It's been a great pleasure. Thank you.
We're going to move back out here now so that these photographers can get the shots that they need. And, no, I'm not quite finished. No, sir. No, I'm getting a little bit of the needle here from some of them to the effect that, actually, I've got to be in here fairly close for a little bit later on. I'm just going to stand. I don't think you can see me at all. And as you can see out, probably, if the cameras can pick it up out there at the center now, Vice President Lyndon Johnson is one of the quartet that's moving out with the color guard out towards the center field flagpole, and they'll have the colors raised here just a few minutes later. And as Vice President Johnson has told us up there a few minutes ago, he had the opportunity to throw out the first ball down at Nashville on Saturday, and felt that his arm was in pretty good shape, and he wished, of course, that President Kennedy would have the same sort of luck in tossing out the first ball here this afternoon. We still have seen no part of Senator Dirksen, who is supposed to be in the presidential party here this afternoon. There's some more dignitaries seated down below.
Hey, Doc.
Dr. Hubert Humphrey is supposed to be out here. Secretary of Labor Arthur Goldberg is to be here. Senator Hubert Humphrey from Minnesota and his son is supposed to be in attendance here this afternoon also. The Secretary of the Interior, Mr. Udall, is supposed to be here, along with Representative Halleck of Indiana and Senator Dirksen. Senator Mike Mansfield is supposed to be on hand here also, and I suspect that they'll be along with the Press Secretary, Pierre Salinger, and the Postmaster General, Mr. Day, is also supposed to be in attendance here this afternoon. And during the ball game, I'm sure that our Channel 9 cameras will pick up all of the dignitaries as they're here, and we'll have an opportunity to point them out for you and identify them for you individually here throughout the afternoon. Actually, we have been very, very fortunate in the break in the weather that occurred here, because as we told you at the outset of the program, it looked for a while as though they may have trouble getting this ball game on. I am trying to peer over these photographers to look up into our booth over behind the third base line, where I see Jack Brickhouse and Jack Jacobson and Jack Rosenberg, also here from our crew, to find out whether or not how far along we should be, because right at the moment I can't see a watch. Hi, Dick Dozer is here. How you doing, Dick? Hold that up. What is it, about 21 after?
That's what I have. I hope it's correct, Vince.
Dick, there's the national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Jack Brickhouse back up in the booth here in Washington, D.C., and I just can't find the words to describe how proud we are of Vince Loyd and the job that's been done out here today in managing to get an interview at the local level with the President of the United States at a time when there are lots of other things on his mind. And right now, of course, Vince is a little worried about time down there. That's why we've taken it up here. He doesn't know whether he's supposed to sign off or not, or whether he's got a minute left or 2 minutes left or what. That's the Air Force Band out there. Our vantage point is a little higher. And, of course, you saw the color guard. It's a little difficult to imagine a more dignified or illustrious or famous color guard than the one we had today. We had Vice President Lyndon Johnson, General Quesada, who is the president of the Washington Ball Club and represents the new ownership, plus Joe Cronin, the president of the American League, and Ford Frick, the commissioner of baseball. Now, we're going to watch the President of the United States throw out that first ball in a minute here. William Howard Taft started that presidential custom of throwing out the first ball back in 1910, and President Kennedy then becomes the 9th chief executive to get our national pastime off and running. Preceding Mr. Kennedy, in addition to Mr. Taft, were Dwight Eisenhower, Harry Truman, Franklin D. Roosevelt, Herbert Hoover, Calvin Coolidge, Warren Harding, and Woodrow Wilson. So we're just going to keep it up here until it becomes time for the president to throw out that ball, which is supposed to be just about now. Actually, the president arrived 2 minutes ahead of schedule, and I don't mind telling you that threw things into a dither, because, believe me, things are supposed to go off on split-second timing in a situation like this. I wish I had time to tell you the tremendous effort that have went into such a simple appearing thing as an interview. But when it's an interview with the United States President, that means you have to go through more security than you ever dreamed possible. Also, you have to have friends in a spot like this, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later on. I just want to say one thing, that an old friend of ours was probably the key man in arranging this whole interview, Frank Darling, who's the president of the IBEW Local 1031 in Chicago, and through his friends in the International Union here in Washington, D.C., and their friends in turn in the White House, this was arranged. I see Charlie Halleck has just come in, and up in the top of that picture in the right-hand corner, you can now see Senator Everett Dirksen from Illinois, who, as Vince told you, are supposed to be in that box today, and they are. Of course, there's a little story behind that. You know, the presidential press conference has taken on quite an air of informality, so Representative Halleck and Senator Dirksen have been kind of giving a kind of tongue-in-cheek satire of the president's press conference with one of their own, calling themselves Evan Charlie. So the president sent him a letter along fairly informal lines himself and invited them to join him in the box for opening day, so it becomes an extremely folksy proposition. So in that box, as you can see, facing us right now, are the fellow with the hat on, by the way, is Governor Ribicoff, a member of the cabinet now, and Vince has also identified most of the other people. Some of them are White House staff. Others are well, just members of the cabinet, or as we said, Senator Dirksen and Charlie Halleck. Now, get ready for the throwing out of that first ball. The ball players from both teams have been coming out of the dugout, and I'm hoping for a wide shot here now so we can watch this. Here's the president getting set to throw out the ball, I guess. Anyway, incidentally, President Eisenhower's favorite ball player was the manager of the Washington Ball Club today, Mickey Vernon. Roy Sievers of the White Sox was Nixon's favorite ball player. And I don't know whether President Kennedy has indicated whether he has a favorite or not. But one thing you can be sure of, he's going to be pulling for Washington today because it's just kind of customary for presidents to pull for the Washington team, of course. This may be the last opener we'll see at this stadium, too, Griffith Stadium, because the brand-new, beautiful edifice is being completed, and next year, of course, they'll play in that one. Anyway, the sun has started to come out now, and boy, the odds were about 100 to 1 against that when everybody went to bed last night, or for that matter, when we woke up this morning around here. It looked like this ball game was going to have to be played tomorrow. Instead, with a full house at Griffith Stadium, a full house here is not a big thing. It's 28,000 some odd people, but nevertheless is jammed to the rafters, and the bleacher section is completely full. The bleacher rights are going to be treated to some sunshine after all. And as I said, there she goes. There's the heave. It's a good one. And I believe it was nailed by Jungle Jim Rivera of the White Sox. Yes, sir. Good old Jim. There goes Jungle Jim. Back up now. Toward the presidential box with the ball, and he's congratulated by Dick Dozier of the Tribune. Now let's stay with him and see if he gets an autograph on that ball. Good old Jungle Jim. Of all the guys in the world to get that ball, Jim is the one guy who will not be at a loss for words if he ever gets close enough up there to get that autograph. Now Rivera is imploring the president to autograph the ball for him. The president is busily autographing things right now, and from our vantage point, which is quite distantly removed from the one Vince had, but at the same time has its advantages because we can see a little better than Vince because those photographers really started to swarm in on him. We can see that Mickey Vernon is standing up next to the president now. Al Lopez, the White Sox manager, is due up to shake hands with him. A second ball was thrown out, and Hal Woodishick of the Senators got that, the pitcher. There is a handshake with Vernon and probably an autograph from the president. And as you can see, this place is just swarming with photographers and reporters, and let me tell you something else, security men. Boy, if you think the Secret Service isn't here, I'll tell you, man alive. The Secret Service, by the way, and I don't think this is any big secret, wear some identifying insignia in their lapels. It's a star. The star is pretty well displayed around this ballpark today. Boy, you go through the kitchen, you go up in the elevator. I guess Jim must have gotten the autograph. It was handed up because he's coming back to the dugout, and he looks about as happy as a fella can look. A handshake from Nelson Fox. And Ted Lepsio and Bob Shaw and Tony Cuccinello are near him. Now watch old Jungle Jim give a few speeches this summer about how I caught the ball thrown from the President of the United States. Well, we're about ready to go with the ball game. We're just as proud as we can be of the pregame show today. Vince, it's going to be impossible to ever top that leadoff man. Vince is back up here now. I don't know where you can go from here with a leadoff man program.
From here, I guess.
I have a hunch that since this one is videotaped, you can catch it later on today. Anyway, Jack Brickhouse and Vince Loyd will be back with you in just a moment at Griffith Stadium for the season's opener.
Tightrope, the story of a police officer working undercover within criminal ranks, premieres tonight at 9:30 on Chicago's Channel 9.
Direct from Griffith Stadium in Washington, D.C., it's the first game of the season for Chicago's White Sox, brought to you by Hamm's, the beer refreshing from the land of sky blue waters. The R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company, makers of Camel cigarettes, and First Federal Savings and Loan Association of Chicago, the 1 at 1 South Dearborn.
Chicago baseball is on the air. Once again, it's time for Chicago baseball. Time for cool refreshment from the land of sky blue waters. Hamm's, the beer that brings you the ball games. The beer refreshing from the land of sky blue waters. Hamm's. Hamm's. Now for Hamm's beer. It's batter up. So let's play ball.
Hi, everybody. Jack Brickhouse. Welcome to baseball. Throw those exhibition schedules away and those scores now. Doesn't mean a thing. From here on out, the bell is going to ring, and it's going to really count for something. The very essence of sport is not merely competition, but competition with a meaning, and that's what we have starting as of today. I'm Jack Brickhouse, along with Vince Loyd. Very proud to be in the nation's capital, where on our pregame show, we've just had the President of the United States, exclusively, I might say, in Chicago today on good old Channel 9. And a rather lengthy interview it was, and this was probably, as I said, as wide a deviation from protocol as you can imagine at the local station level. And to get an informal interview with the President in a spot like that is something of which we at Channel 9 are very, very proud. I'm just as proud of Vince as I can be, and the rest of our crew who arranged this one. Anyway, now it's welcome to baseball. Let's get going. Jim Rivera caught the first ball thrown out by the President, and here we go with the batting orders for the visiting White Sox. It's Aparicio at shortstop leading off, Fox at second, Minoso is in left, Severs at first, Martin at third, Smith in right field, Landis in center field, Lawler catching. The pitcher, who else? Early Wynn, 113, lost 12 last year. Now for the Washington Senators, Coote Veal at shortstop leading off, Billy Klaus at third, Marty Keogh in right field, Dale Long at